Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. Who wants to recite the
I'm
mantra?
going to give it a try.
Please.
Om Tachayyoravriணிமஹே गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपते देवी स्वस्तिरस्तु न स्वस्तिरमानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजं शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे शञ्चतुष्पदे. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Please read this as well.
We together invoke that Supreme Paramatma through our thoughtful right actions and interactions with the world. May you guide us in the spirit of our shortcomings to Swasti, a state of ease and balance. May you guide us in spite of our shortcomings to Swasti, in state of ease and balance. As we partake the medicine of life experiences, let us be open. May our mind not be a stumbling block. May we learn and grow through our experiences. May you shower your auspiciousness, not just on all humans, but all creatures as well. May we transcend all obstacles and attain peace, serenity, and tranquility.
Others who want to chant also, please put your names in the chat so we can guide you.
Om Sahasrashirsha Purusha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat Sabhumin Vishwato Vrutva Atyadishthata Shangulam Purusha Evedagam Sarvam Yadbhutan Yacha Bhavyam Utamrutat Vatseshanaha Yadanne Natirohati एतावानस्य महिमा अतो जायागश्च पूरुषः पादोऽस्य विश्वाभूतानि त्रिपादस्यामृतं दिवि त्रिपादूर्ध्व उदयत्पुरुषः पादोऽस्येहा भवात् पुनः ततो विश्वं व्यक्रामत् शासनानशने अभि तस्माद् विराड जायत विराजो अधिपूरुषः स जातो अत्यरिच्यत पश्चाद् भूमिमथो पुरः यत्पुरुषेण हविषा देवा यज्ञमतन्वत वसन्तो अस्यासीदाज्यं ग्रीष्म इद्मः शरद्धविः सप्तास्यासन् परिधयः त्रिसप्तः समिधः कृताः देवा यद्यज्ञं तन्वानाः अबध्नन् पुरुषं पशुं तं यज्ञं बर्हिषि प्रोक्षन् पुरुषं जातमग्रतः तेन देवा अयजन्त sadhya rishayascha ye tasmad yajnat sarvahutah sambhrutam prushadhajyam pashugaschagachakre vayavyan aranyan gramyascha ye tasmad yajnat sarvahutah ruchasamani jagnire छंदागुंसि जग्निरे तस्मात् यजुस्तस्मादजायत तस्मादश्वा अजायन्त ये केचो भयादतः गावो हजग्निरे तस्मात् तस्माज्जाता अजावयः यत्पुरुषं व्यददुः कथिता व्यकल्पयन् मुखं किमस्य कौ बाहु कावूरूपादावुच्येते ब्राह्मणोऽस्य मुखमासीत् बाहुराजन्यः कृतः ऊरू तदस्य यद्वैश्यः पद्भ्यागं शूद्रो अजायत. So in this session, what we're going to cover is knowing that all humans are humans. We're all equal in that sense, but we all have different abilities, different talents. Knowing that we all come from that one source alone, how do we translate that vision in our lives? Because that's important, right? I mean, not just understanding the meaning, but how do I translate that into my everyday life? And then we understand through in this session that not just our physical, this matter, this body and everything, or not only humans, all creatures have come from that one source, but even all the functions, whether it's the eye seeing and whatever happens afterwards in the brain, and whether it's hands moving, whether it's an internal organs functioning, that function also comes from that same Purusha, meaning the energy aspect is also from that Purusha. Not only that, all these worlds of experiences, be it for an ant, what its experience might be and its world might be, that also is created from that Purusha alone. Everything is from that one source. Then we say, okay, then if everything has come from that one Purusha, now we look at everything around us as far as this environment, and what is our role then? Because if everything is me in a sense, what is our role? Should somebody remind us and say, this is Earth Day? Should somebody remind us, don't, pollute your oceans and air? We have to think about that. And then say we gain this clear understanding of this, PurushaSuktam. All that has been said here, I reflect on it, I contemplate on it, and then it over time becomes my understanding and wisdom. Then what is my vision after that? So I get this, message of PurushaSuktam, then how am I living in this world? So what is the result of such a vision? These are the topics that we covered today. So, yes, the 4 topics of PurushaSuktam, not that we want to be reminded, but yes, Purusha is the first topic. And then the vision of that Purusha, Yajna is after the Purusha started, all the subtle matter, energy, along with consciousness, how did it further propagate itself? It was very dramatic, in a dramatic fashion, it was said, the Devatas who came first did a Yajna, meaning using all the ingredients which the Purusha alone had provided from itself. So much of sacrifice kept happening to bring this Srishti into existence. And not only all this created world, of course, the humans, and with their roles and responsibilities, depending on their abilities, was also put in place. So everything was put in place, but all stemming from that one Purusha in the spirit of sacrifice. So this is what we have covered so far. And we understood that from this same Purusha, when they were conceptualizing this Virat Purusha, and then how, humans came out of that, they said from this Purusha alone, the Brahmanas came from the head. From his arms came the administrators, the Kshatriyas. From the thighs, the businessmen or the Vaishyas. who are mainly concerned with the propagation of wealth, creating employment, and the people who do hard work came from his feet, it was said. But so many times we've been reinforcing the idea that there's only one Purusha. So our vision should always be of oneness and balance and not superiority or inferiority. Cannot be if we are from one source alone. How can there be superiority and inferiority? It begs us to fulfill our roles properly, whatever our talents might be. So now we translate this vision of, the Brahmanas coming from the head and all this and say, what does it mean? How do I make sure that we work in harmony rather than with different attitudes? That is the key here. So very beautifully, in one of our, there's a thing called as our qualifications when we march on this path of understanding our true nature. And one of the qualifications that we need to have, it is said, is called Uparama. I don't know if all of you are familiar with this sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. And then in that sadhana chatushtaya sampanna, it is said we should have viveka, we should have vairagya, and comes the third one, which is actually 6, called as shamadhi shatka sampatti, and last one is called mumukshutvam. These are sadhana chatushtaya, 4. But in the third one, there are 6. And one of that 6 is called as Uparama. What is Uparama? How does it mean? What does it mean to you and me? Uparama is to prioritize things in our life. Stop, getting involved in too many things, dissipating our physical, mental energy, and not doing any task properly. So what it says, withdraw in the sense, prioritize your things. Simplify, prioritize. And so Shankaracharya ji gives a definition for this as saying, Swadharmanushtana meva. You remain in your duties. You do your swadharma, is what it is said, what Shankaracharya ji defines it as. And when we look at our Hindu philosophy or the Sanatana Dharma, there is a reason why there are 4 ashramas. Why there is a brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, as well as sannyasa. All ashramas are for a purpose. During our student days, best to study properly. Give 100% to that, right? That's don't overlap is what they're saying, so that you can do each thing properly. Then we come to Grihastha Ashrama. There is so much of responsibility on us. We are the ones, the Grihasthas, who support all other ashramas, whether it's a child, whether people are, turning towards the vanaprastha and withdrawing, or even the sannyasis. We are the ones, the Grihastha has a tremendous responsibility to shoulder, do their duty in the best possible manner at that time. And so we have to, according to the roles and responsibilities, according to the stage of our life and our duties, we have to properly execute that. So vanaprastha is, withdraw from getting involved in everything, the house, daily duties, and more focus on what can I do to enhance this path towards my own spirituality, my truth. And then finally in the sannyasa, no involvement in anything outside except me and that supreme truth alone. How can I abide in that? So all these are given. And so according to that, we should fulfill our roles and responsibilities. In the process, we have to use our abilities and our talents properly. Nowadays, this Swadharma thing is there's a lot of overlap. That doesn't mean we have to lament and feel like I'm not belonging to this category. So what? Each role we have taken up, do that properly is the most important thing right now. And as we do so, we have to maintain the right attitude. Right attitude means in the service of everybody. As a worship of God, understanding that there is a common truth everywhere and doing my best without looking for what is it in me. Because what our Bhagavad Gita, we studied all this in the Karma Yoga chapter, but it is so clearly said, if each one of us does our duties towards others, no need to fight for rights. That's an amazing thing to say. That there is no reason for us to fight for rights if everyone fulfills their duties properly. our rights are met in that process itself. So doing our duty is the most important, is what we have been told from a long time. This is the way of fulfilling our swadharma. So then what happens when we selflessly fulfill our duties, each one, sometimes what happens, we do it and others don't do it, that causes so much of tension and disharmony. But if each one of us take ownership and we do our duties properly according to the role we have taken up, according to the station in our life, we focus on doing our daily duties, obligatory duties towards ourselves, towards others around us. That is called nitya karma. And the naimittika karma is that which comes to us occasionally when you have to do your duty towards, somebody is in the hospital, somebody needs, a help with certain things, or we've taken up a role in a certain organization. At certain points, you have to do some work. All those things fall under naimittika karmas. So these together, if you remember Bhagavad Gita, are called as together, nitya and naimittika are called as niyata karmas that we have to do. And understanding that, it says worship of God of a greater good. You don't have to, always say, some people are there who don't believe in God, but hey, for a larger cause, it's important because it brings so much quietude and peace of mind. Such a mind is the best equipment for understanding this interconnectedness, this underlying unity in this world. So this is the reason we have to do that. And then if I do that, if I do my swadharma, be it my tendency to be a brahmana or a kshatriya or a vaishya or a hard, laborer, doesn't matter. If I have the right attitude, where will it take me? It's amazing. From a self-centeredness, this oneself, to that oneself. From my swadharma, whatever I'm performing right now as my swadharma, to that one supreme dharma, which is that one underlying truth. That actually is the supreme dharma. That is the ultimate. See, dharma has many meanings, but the ultimate meaning of dharma is that one truth. So from our swadharma, performing our duties, we are taken to that one truth. So can you imagine doing our diligent everyday duties to understanding our truth? It'll take us there. And how does it manifest in your and my life? As independent joy. Joy within our heart, which we understand is our true nature, not depending on whether this thing is there or not, whether this person smiles at me or not, or whether this perfect conducive situation is around me or not, doesn't matter. This is that independent joy. And then manifests as loving service. It's spontaneous after that. So this is, no matter what our talent, no matter what our ability, if we can follow this with this attitude, this is where this vision of that PurushaSuktam from, from head becomes Brahmana, all those things actually translates finally into understanding that. This is the greatness of all this. So now we'll recite 2 of the mantras together. So if somebody can, please repeat after me. Chandrama manaso jataha.
Chandrama manaso jataha.
Chaksho suryo ajayata.
Chaksho suryo ajayata.
Mukhadindraschagnischa.
Mukhadindrascha agnischa.
Pranadvayurajayata.
Pranadvayurajayata.
Nabhya asidantariksham.
Go ahead.
Please go.
Nabhyadasidantariksam.
Vishnodyo samavartata.
Shishnodyo samavartata.
Adbhyam bhumirdishashrotrat.
Padmam bhumirdishashrotrat.
Padbhyam Bhumirdishashrotrat.
Padbhyam bhumirdishashrotat.
Tatha lokagum akalpayan.
Tatha lokagum akalpayan.
So now it is said, what else came from this Purusha? Chandrama manaso jataha. The moon came from the mind of the Purusha. Also understand, even our mind has derived its ability to function from that Purusha. Everything, just understand, connects to you and me too. Although it is said, oh, Surya came, Chandra came, and everything, sure, all of them came, but also our functioning has come. This is what is going to emphasize now. Chakshu Suryo Ajayata, from his eyes came the sun. Also, eyes came from him. Functioning of the eyes. Mukhadindras Chagnischa, from the mouth came fire. Agni came, meaning the ability to speech came from that, including the temperature of the body as well, came from that Supreme Lord. Pranad Vayurajayata, a breath. His breath alone is this air, which is my breath as well. Okay. Then Nabhya Asidhantariksham. And so it says, from his navel came all this interspace. Space came from that Supreme Purusha. Space created, time created, everything started with the first creation. Everything is from that Supreme Purusha. Shishnyo Dhyo Samavartata, his head became the heaven. From his feet, Padbhyam Bhumi, earth came from that. And from his ears came all the direction. In this way, Tata Lokagum Akalpayan, all worlds were created for all creatures, it is said. So this is all dramatization to say, even if we say, oh, did this come from that Purusha? Oh, it came from that Purusha, because there's only one. Whether you see space, whether you see this earth, whether you see the sun, whether you see fire, whether you see the moon, everything is from that. Not only that, the key thing is the functioning of all organs. The functioning of all, meaning now you see, initially we have our fleshy eyes are here, right here. We have the physical ears. But with, how many things happen once we get some input from some object. For example, I'm seeing this desk. Immediately, so many things are happening. With the medium of light, I've seen the desk and my eyes have perceived it. Messages are sent because through into my rods and cones of the retina, all those things. From there, nerves travel, bringing the impulses to our optic chiasm, or the, our center for vision. And that is translated as, in my mind, an impression forms, and I understand it's a table. How many things? And, in our medical science, it would all be like, electrical impulses traveling, chemical reactions happening. These are the things which are going on. This is the energy movement which is happening inside us to make us perceive things, make us function here. Whether it's a function of my liver or kidney or the heart or anything, so much of exchange of chemicals, as well as little particles, as well as electrical impulse. How many things are happening? All those are from, it says, from that same Purusha alone. All physiological functions, all the functioning of the brain, everything is from that Purusha, is what it's indicated now. And you see, each of those organs follow certain laws. What do you mean by certain laws? The eyes just see. They don't take over the function of the ears. The liver doesn't take over the function of the heart. Meaning, so everything has been programmed to do certain things. And so we say, oh, they're all obeying certain laws. Then we say, if they're obeying certain laws, there has to be some law giver. And so just in our Vedic language, these names are given. Chandrama, Surya, Indra, Agni, Vayu, all these names are given. So for us to understand, right, we just think of it as a computer, for example. It's a hardware, it's got a software, and it also needs power to operate, right? So the power to operate and has come from that one source, Purusha. One source. Consciousness is the one which is giving this physical body all its functions. In its presence alone can everything happen. If that life-giving principle consciousness is out, yes, the physical body will still be there. You'll still see the eyes, the brain will be there, all the nerve endings, everything is intact. Nothing can function. It is only that consciousness in its presence, everything can function. That alone has become there, physical as well as the matter energy aspect of it as well. Be it electrical energy, chemical energy, doesn't matter. In a dramatic way, PurushaSuktam is saying that they are following certain laws, and there are certain deities which are, following under their, rule. Everything is following certain paths, is what it is said. So it is, people have, okay, if you want to look at it, computer, hardware, software, whatever, the source for everything is this Purusha. The hardware can be the brain, where all the mind, if you think about it, our mind is, you can actually map things, they say, right? When you do MRIs and functional MRIs, you can map the functions of the mind. And all that is various chemical and electrical activities that are happening there. And for that, they say Chandrama is the power, but it's coming from that Purusha. Eyes, without light, can we see anything? Obviously not. Nothing can be seen in the dark. So without the presence of light, that Surya representing, Surya is represented here as the source of light, the sight cannot function. A function of eyes cannot be there. Same thing in the sense of Indra, Vayu, Agni. In our Vedic language, this is what they say. But we clearly also understand functioning of our organs, any of our sense organs, any of our organs of action, any of our internal organs. Everything is happening because of the presence of Purusha, and from that alone has everything come. Okay. Now, the people interpret it in beautiful ways. Others might say, oh, look, if they say it's Chandrama in PurushaSuktam, learn something from that. How is the moon? The moon, if it's a presiding deity of the mind, you say, when you look at the moon, what a beautiful feeling comes, a pleasant feeling comes, mind calms down. You operate with that type of a mind. Keep your mind calm. And the sun, learn something from that. If they say sun is the Lord of vision, in your understanding, say the sun is equal to everybody. There's no partiality in its side. So equally shine on all means keep a balanced vision when you see. So there's so much to learn. And when they say heaven is the head, feet of the Purusha is the earth, remember that, keep some noble thoughts. Let our thoughts be noble. And then be firmly grounded on this earth, remembering how sacred it is. Or be firmly grounded and work with that vision. So many interpretations for this. But in our mind, clearly understanding that even the functions of the various organs are from that Purusha alone. Without that, nothing can happen. That is the clear thing. And so all of them are also obeying their laws. Nothing is overlapping. Eye suddenly doesn't take over the function of the ears. Liver doesn't take over the function of the kidneys. Cannot happen. So this is, in this way, this Purusha created so many worlds of experiences. That means an ant will have its own field of experience, its own world. Okay, a worm has its own world where it sort of, goes in the earth and gets its nutrients, whatever. A bird, an animal, a tree, worlds of experiences for everything was created. You and I might not grasp it, but in our Vedic literature, it is said there are also these deities or devatas who also have their own world of experience. So everything has been created by this Purusha alone. Now, we just say, okay, if this entire nature around me, entire world around me has been created by that one Purusha as the one source, nothing else is there, and that's also common to me, then what do I do? How is my view when I look at things around me, nature, this environment? What is my understanding then? So beautifully, this person, I love this quote. It says, the environment is in us, not outside us. The trees are our lungs. The rivers are our bloodstream. We are all interconnected. And ultimately, what we do to the environment, we are actually doing it to ourselves. We know that. The more we understand what's happening outside, we know that so many things are happening to actually cause harm to ourselves in this manner. And it's a human responsibility. It is not the animals which are troubling us. It is not the trees. It is not the air. It is not the space. It's not the water. We are causing all the problem. And as a consequence of that, we are also suffering. And so it becomes very clear when it's the same truth everywhere. Why would we want to pollute and harm, everything? And so just every one of our scriptures says this. If you study any of our scriptures, this is what it says. This whole universe is pervaded by one truth, that Purusha. And in the language of this beautiful Upanishad, Isha Upanishad, it is said, Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam, Yat Kinchit Jagatyam Jagat. Whether it's moving or unmoving, everything is that one truth. How many times they repeat this? How many times? How many times? So whether you study Vishnu Sahasranama, I'm telling you, whether you study Vishnu Sahasranama, whether you're studying some Upanishadic text, whether you study some basic Prakarana Granthas, whether you're studying Bhagavad Gita, same message. I am the truth who's everywhere. The same truth everywhere, everywhere. So then it is said, the crisis that we are facing, ecological crisis, if people believe in that, okay, to such people who are smart and intelligent, but if we know that, it's a result, it is said, of spiritual crisis. Spiritual. This is the reason. It said it's not the toxic waste. It's not the pollution of our waters. It's not the destruction of forests by raging fires. And yes, not even corrupt politicians who are causing the problem. It is the greed and selfishness in human hearts, from which has come everything, from which has stemmed all these problems. Every one of these creatures and plants and the sea corals, everything have their role. They were placed here for a certain role. And each one is doing their role properly, but it's we humans, we've forgotten that. Such messages of PurushaSuktam, we should really slowly keep on mulling over it, digesting it, thinking about it, and seeing, what is my role then? How can I make my difference here in this world? What can I do? What can I do? And it's said that when we say, I'm separate from you and everything else, it's the biggest lie. Biggest lie. We're telling when we say you're different from me, that person's different. Oh, that's an animal. No. PurushaSuktam is saying you're one with this universe. Think about it. You stand next to a plant in your house. The carbon dioxide I breathe out, that plant is taking. And it's giving away its oxygen, which I'm breathing. So interconnected. Similarly, this heat in our bodies, similarly, the light everywhere, similarly, this earth, similarly, the waters. There is no break. It looks like this physical body is a barrier. It is not. There's one continuity, and ultimately, in its essence, it's that one Purusha alone. One Purusha alone. So now if we have this vision, if we have come to this understanding, then what happens? Let's just say there is somebody who's understood this. I got it. This message of PurushaSuktam, it's so obvious to me. Somebody says that. Then what does that person declare? What does that person say? So it is said in this beautiful next mantra. Okay, somebody can repeat. Vedahametam purusham mahantam.
Vedahameta purusham mahantam
Aditya Adityavarnam tamasastu pare.
Adityavarnam tamasastu pare.
Sarvani rupani
Sarvani rupani
vichitya dhiraha.
vichitya dhiraha.
Namani krutva
Namani krutva
abhivadan yadaste.
abhivadan yadaste.
So this person, one who's understood all this message of PurushaSuktam, not only understood, that's become their wisdom. So that means they've understood who this Purusha is. And actually, what do they say? Veda aham, I know. Veda here is not the Vedas, like the Rig, Yajur, Sama, not that. Veda here means I know. I know now. This knowledge is mine now. How did you get this knowledge? I studied the scriptures. I myself made it doubtless by, asking questions, clarifying, and got it, so it became a doubtless knowledge that is called yukti, meaning through logic and questioning, clearing my doubts. And then anubhuti, I thought about it, I meditated on it, I contemplated, kept on thinking over and over and over again, and I got this clear wisdom now. That is called direct experience. Anubhuti means it's not like suddenly Purusha will not appear in a heart as something else. It's now clear understanding. This is my wisdom, right? I know this person says. This Mahan Purusha, this Purusha you're talking about, this Virat Purusha, I know this Mahan Purusha. Who's this Virat Purusha, if you ask? It was that Satchidananda Brahman. No form, no attributes. It started becoming aware of its power, that Ishvara. And then all the subtle matter, energy, the Big Bang, everything happened, along with that consciousness always being there, Hiranyagarbha. And then this manifestation, as I see in front of me, this Purusha, as I now understand, Virat, was the same thing. That Satchidananda Brahman is the substratum. I know from that alone came the power, the subtle matter, energy, everything. Finally, what I see in front of me and know, and so many things I don't know. Everything is from that one Lord. I see that. Etam Purusham Veda Aham. I know this great truth, this great Virat Purusha. And how do you know this? Aham Ahamiti. Not just something there. That's me, my true nature. This consciousness, which is in you and me, that itself in totality has manifested everything. That consciousness, there's a totality of consciousness appearing now as this individual. That totality is the one from which everything came. From that understanding, that consciousness level, we are all one. I'm not different from that Virat Purusha. I'm the same as in the essence as that Purusha. And how did it appear to you? How did this Purusha? Aditya Varnam. Oh, brilliant. Light as the sun. Consciousness is never light like the sun. Huh? What we have to understand in our clear understanding is only in the presence of that life-giving principle consciousness can we know anything. Just like only in the presence of light can we see anything, our consciousness is compared to that light. That's why we say in our scriptures, we call consciousness Jyoti, we call it knowledge or omniscience and all that. What it really means, without its presence, nothing can be known. Nothing can happen. Therefore, it is called as all knowledge, all light, all illuminating, the sun. This is the name given to consciousness. Without its presence, nothing can be known. So understood, this person understood. Aditya Varna means just like that sun, it's shining means here giving me life, giving me the ability to understand, gather information, process it. Everything is happening because of that Supreme Purusha. I know that now. And tamasastu pare, all my ignorance is gone now. There is no darkness of I didn't know my true nature. That's gone. And actually, how beautiful it is. You think about it. Let's think. When I say for example, if somebody asks me, oh, do you know the Swahili language? I'll say, I don't know. Do you know Kannada? I'll say, yes, I know. So you see, that fact that I know something as well as I don't know something, I know that. And how do I know that? It is because of this presence of this life-giving principle consciousness. I know of things I know of things I don't know, is what it's saying. Meaning consciousness illumines or gives us the ability to know what I know and what I don't know. But does anything happen to consciousness? Nothing. Nothing. It's within me, giving me this ability to know, also makes me aware of what I don't know. But consciousness, me, my true nature, nothing happens to me. My ignorance might cause me suffering somewhere. In fact, it's causing us all the suffering of the samsara. But my true nature, untouched, cannot be caught by all the problems of the ignorance that this jiva is suffering. This is the understanding this person gets. Understanding this person gets. And then what happens? This person also understands sarvani rupani vichitya dhiraha. Meaning this same Purusha, which I now understand, is the one manifesting as all these different things and creatures of so many varieties. And then with so many names, namani krutva. Abhivadan yadaste. Now look at this great consciousness. It didn't remain separate somewhere. It has created everything and has entered into everything. So I look at this as an inert table. I look at this as an inert book. I look at this body with, alive. Everywhere there's that pure existence consciousness alone. Because it was the only thing which has become everything. So different names, different forms, some with life and, ability to think, etc., or move and all that. Some inert sitting in front of me. One Purusha. This person has understood. I see that Dhira Purusha, that great Purusha, omniscient Purusha. The person is saying, I understand. I know that. Or it can also mean, now translating it to me now, you and me, we are that Purusha. That Supreme Purusha is my essential nature. Therefore, I have a clear understanding now. And I understand now that the same, with my understanding, clear vision now, the same truth is everywhere. And having understood, I'm here in this world. Abhivadan yadaste. So you can translate it as this Purush, this person who's understood vision of PurushaSuktam says, I know that Purusha. That Purusha alone has become everything. Or I can say, Are, I'm that truth. I'm the truth which is manifesting as everything. I remain in this world with that clear understanding. And when I remain in this world, how do I function? Everybody has their role. Everything has its role. So I deal with them as they are. But in and through all this, I understand we're all one. This is the clear understanding of this Purusha, and this person. And then what is the result? What is the result of such a vision? Okay, let's please repeat. Dhata purastadya muja, Dhata purastadya muda jahara.
Dhata purustadha muda jahara.
Shakra pravidvan.
Shakra pravidvan.
Pradishaschatasraha.
Pradishchastrastaha. One more time.
Pradisha.
Pradisha.
Chatasraha. Chatasra. It's sha and ta.
Yeah.
And tasraha. It's a little, you have to say it fast, but that's okay. Shastasraha.
Shastrastaha.
Tamevam vidvan.
tamevam vidvan
Amrita
amrita
iha bhavati
iha bhavati
nanya pantha.
nanya pantha
Sorry, nanya pantha
nanya pantha
ayanaya vidyate.
ayanaya vidyate.
It has been declared. It has been declared that Dhata, that Purusha, uh, Purastat in the beginning, what did he do? Even Indra says, Indra proclaimed, Shakra means Indra, Udajahara said, Pravidvan Chatasasra Pradishaha, one who has propagated all this, that same Purusha, he says, you have to know that. Nanya Pantha Ayanaya Vidyate, there is no other way for liberation from this constant tossing and turnings of this life here, life experiences. We have to realize this truth. That alone will put an end to all our, right now, the way we face things. There'll be a difference right now. As we face world's ups and downs, we won't be whacked on our face all the time and collapse and get overwhelmed and get so bogged down by worries and anxieties and all those things. This knowledge is most important. Data Purastadya Mudajahara Shakra Pravidwan Pradishastratashaha. This Purusha, who alone in the beginning with his power or with that power became everything, has manifested as this Virat Purusha in every direction, whatever you see. And then Tamevam Vidwan Amrita Iha Bhavati. That means the one who realizes again the same thing, what is this Virat Purusha in this way, that everything is that Purusha. There is an interconnectedness everywhere. As indicated by this PurushaSuktam, they get immortality. We have to understand what immortality is also. So now this Evam Vidwan, which is said, can also mean people like you and me, the seekers on this path, who through doing our duties and responsibilities in the society, whatever has come to our life, our mind becomes very happy, peaceful, quiet. That's called purified my mind. And then our intellect also becomes sharp. It becomes, focused, more and more focused, so that we can get this gist of this PurushaSuktam. And of course, it says, gain it from a teacher, meaning understand it properly. Please don't, just listen to some words and think that is it. Get the proper knowledge, right? And one who has realized this Purusha as my own self, meaning the same truth in me, and that same truth is everywhere, then what happens? It says, Amrita Iha Bhavati. In this world, like where I'm living, I become immortal. Now, please understand, nobody can stay in this physical body. This physical body is matter. And you see anything made out of matter in this world, what happens to it? Anything made out of matter. You see, especially I think a fall is a great season to reflect on this. Every time, you walk and all the leaves have fallen from the trees, those leaves which were so green and, lush everywhere, filling everything, especially in New England, right? And then in the fall, what happens? They change color and they fall on the ground. And within no time, they're becoming brown, they're becoming shrunken, and then they become powder. And then after some time, you don't even see where they were. Just disintegrates into the soil. So this is not the physical body which is going to remain forever. Immortality means I understand my nature. I understand that my true nature, pure consciousness, never is destroyed. Never does it change. That consciousness ever is. There is no, this body, my consciousness stops here and something else starts there. Consciousness is everywhere. That is my essence. This wise person, this Dhira, knows that, what this physical body is not me. Clear understanding comes to them. So then what is the question of even death? That's only for physical body, not me, consciousness. My essence will not go anywhere. I am that true, deathless, immortal truth. And when you get this understanding that nothing can destroy me, nothing can touch or harm me, then goes all fear. Our fear is mainly because of change, and the worst change we all dread, and even though we might not express, is that physical death. But that doesn't affect me consciousness at all. So that fear goes away and therefore become Amrita Bhavati. This is called Amrita, right here, that understanding of my true nature. And then what happens? All the changes that come and go. Is it touching me, consciousness? No. Am I sort of still hankering for this to make me happy, that to make me happy? No, I'm full. I'm complete. I'm fulfilled. So again, as I said, independent joy. That is called freedom of desires. And no dependence on anything is the greatest thing that we can get. So until we get that, there is no liberation, it is said. So this is the benefit of studying PurushaSuktam, understanding it, and moving to that final understanding. So constant reflection is needed. So we've been seeing the benefits of chanting this, benefits of chanting quietens our mind, learning it as we're doing, understanding it as we're doing, has taken us to a different level. And then what to talk about, ultimately digesting it, making my wisdom and living with that vision. Even now, already it is, making me feel like I want to live this. I want to think more about it. I want to see how in my small way, I can bring some compassion into my life more towards myself as to also others. How can I be of a little bit more service? What are my duties? How can I prioritize? Please let us not remind that I shouldn't be throwing, plastics everywhere. Let's do our little part, right? So all this is the vision of PurushaSuktam. And then we know that it's used in the 16-step puja only to develop a connection to the totality, to that higher, through our Ishta Devata, Rama, Krishna, Devi, to the totality. And most importantly, every day I live here with a feeling, at least in my heart, has to be that same truth. So let me approach everybody with acceptance, compassion, and love, understanding their role. So this is what it takes, this Purusha Sukta. We'll sort of finish the last mantra and chant the whole thing, as well as summarize the whole thing in the next session. So what did we do today? We have understood, that in the last session that all of us humans have different abilities and talents, but we come from that one source. We translate that vision into our lives by doing our swadharma, our duties, where we are, our roles, our responsibility. And that, where will it lead us to? That ultimate dharma, my true essence. We also understood that just not this physical matter, but all the functionings that's happening is that energy aspect of it is from that Purusha alone. You think about it even in scientific manner. Matter and energy are interconvertible, we say in science. The matter cannot be created nor destroyed. Same thing we say all the time. This is not saying anything different. This is not saying any, except that science has not yet gone to the consciousness principle, but we say there has to be a principle of intelligence here in this creation, and that is that pure consciousness. And then we looked at our role now in the topic of ecology and environment. It's our responsibility. We have to own it. We have to take care. Why should we be called crown of creation otherwise? We are harming ourselves otherwise. How ridiculous it is. And so what is the vision of this person who has clear understanding of this message of PurushaSuktam? I am that truth. I am that Virat Purusha who's manifesting as everything. The same truth is everywhere. The result of such a vision is that immortality, meaning I know my immortal nature, that supreme truth in me. As a consequence of that, I know I cannot There is no change in me. There cannot be any destruction in me. I'm that eternal principle. We get fearlessness. And then that independent joy, always manifesting as loving service everywhere. This is where PurushaSuktam takes us all. So important to have one of the most ancient hymns. We have to have a clear idea and vision of this. It will conclude. Om Tachayyoravrunimahe Gatum Yajnaya Gatum Yajnapataye Daivi Swastirastu Naha Swastirmanushebyah Urdhvam Jigatu Bheshajam Shanno Astu Dvipade Shanchatushpade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.